Myanmar must return Rohingya citizenship, abandon verification cards, says rights group. Myanmar needs to take action for Rohingya repatriation, says US envoy. UN investigator on Myanmar condemns Suu Kyi over Rohingya crisis. The government of Myanmar must restore full citizenship rights to Rohingya living in Myanmar and in refugee camps in Bangladesh and abandon the issuing of national verification cards (NVCs) that describe them as foreigners, a rights group said on Tuesday at a press conference in Thailand. The National Verification Card (NVC) scheme targeting Myanmar's Rohingya Muslims is part of a systematic campaign by Myanmar authorities to erase their identity, according to a new report by 45 Rights published on Tuesday. The human rights organization says the NVC process and denial of citizenship fall within the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court in its probe into crimes against the minority group, which was initiated last year. The Myanmar government is trying to destroy the Rohingya people through an administrative process that effectively strips them of basic rights, said Matthew Smith, Chief Executive Officer of 45 Rights. This process and its impacts lie at the root of the Rohingya crisis, and until it's addressed, the crisis will continue. The NVC process is just another reiteration of discriminatory cards that have been given out over the years to the Rohingyas. John Quinley III, author of the report and a human rights specialist at 45 Rights, told Al Jazeera. U.S. Ambassador to Bangladesh Earl R. Miller has said Myanmar needs to take action so that Rohingyas can return to their homeland. The U.S. Ambassador made the remark while talking to reporters after visiting the historic Keen Bridge over the Surma River in Sylhet on Tuesday. Myanmar must create the conditions so that all the Rohingyas can return to their home in a safe, dignified manner, he said. The U.S. envoy said the international community did step up pressure on Myanmar, and the U.S. is working in partnership with Bangladesh to make sure the repatriation happens as early as possible. Genocide survivors in Bangladesh camps are ready to go back to Myanmar, but Bangladesh and international community must put pressure continually to Myanmar government to accept our demands, said a Rohingya activist from camps. Myanmar's civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi has washed her hands of the Rohingya crisis, a United Nations rights investigator Yang Hee Lee said on Tuesday, ahead of a meeting between South Korea's President Moon Jae-in and the tarnished democracy icon Suu Kyi. Yang Hee Lee said Suu Kyi was terribly misguided and misinformed about the abuses against the stateless Muslim minority in her country. Suu Kyi was spared from the sanctions but no longer deserved to be called a democracy activist, Lee told AFP. She should step up and really speak out for the treatment the Rohingyas had suffered for decades, she told AFP. It's time for her to speak out and use the word, call them the way they identify themselves as the Rohingya.